Ever wonder what the real difference is between someone who's just good at what they do and someone who's a true master? We tend to think of mastery as this kind of magical, untouchable talent you're either born with or you're not. But what if it's not magic at all? What if there's a blueprint, a system that anyone can actually learn and build on? Well, in this explainer, that's exactly what we're going to do. Break down that blueprint piece by piece.
So yeah, this is the big question, right? And the answer, spoiler alert, isn't about luck or some secret gift. It's really about a specific process. It's a series of deliberate steps and, just as importantly, mental shifts that can transform that raw potential we all have into something, well, something undeniable.
All right, so here's the game plan. First, we're going to figure out what mastery even is. Then, we'll look at the raw materials you need to get started. After that, we'll fire up the engine of growth, check out the major landmarks on the journey, see what excellence actually looks like in action, and finally, we'll talk about the mindset you need to stay at the top of your game.
Okay, first things first. We got to reframe how we think about this whole thing. Mastery is not some finish line you cross and then you're done. No way. It's a continuous, dynamic system. It's always moving, always evolving. Think of it less like a trophy on a shelf and more like a living, breathing process.
So, if mastery is a system, what's it built out of? Let's dig into the foundation, the two fundamental components that you really have to start with. These are the raw materials of greatness.
This right here is such a crucial distinction. Talent, that's your starting point. It's the raw, natural potential you're born with, your potential energy. But skill is what you build. It's turning that potential into something real, something actionable. You could say talent might get you invited to the race, but it's skill that actually gets you across the finish line.
And the very first major milestone on this path? It's competence. This is that point, that amazing threshold where you can reliably do the thing all on your own. No hand-holding, no one looking over your shoulder. It's the solid, quantifiable foundation you need for everything else that's going to come next.
Okay, so having that foundation is awesome, but how do you actually build the skyscraper? How do you grow? Well, this is where the engine of growth kicks in. These are the active, deliberate processes that turn that basic competence into something truly special.
You know the old saying, practice makes perfect? Well, it's kind of wrong. Or at least it's not the whole story. Most practice is just mindlessly repeating stuff. Deliberate practice is different. It's about zeroing in with laser focus on your weaknesses. It's about getting honest feedback and constantly tweaking your approach. Look, it's not fun, and it's definitely not comfortable, but it is the only way to get seriously better.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just a nice idea or some self-help fluff. It's a scientifically proven fact. The big takeaway here is that the quality of your practice absolutely crushes the quantity every single time.
Now, of course, because deliberate practice is so hard, you need fuel for that engine, and that fuel is grit. It's this powerful combination of passion and perseverance. It's what keeps you going. And what's wild is that research shows grit is often a way better predictor of long-term success than raw talent. It's the backbone that gets you through all the challenges and failures you're definitely going to face.
Oh man, this learning curve. I think we've all been here, right? You start something new and the progress is super fast and exciting. You feel like a genius. And then, bam, you hit a wall, a plateau. Progress just stops. This is the danger zone. This is where most people get frustrated and just quit. But the people with grit, they see this as a puzzle. They find new strategies, they adapt, and that's when the real breakthrough happens. So as you push through those plateaus, it's not just your physical skills that are changing. Something much deeper is happening. Your entire mindset is shifting. So let's talk about some of the key mental landmarks you'll pass on this road from apprentice to master.
So when you're starting out, you're all about the know-how. You're just learning the steps, right? Following the instructions. But to reach mastery, you have to make the leap to know why. This is a deep, conceptual understanding of the principles behind the steps. It's the difference between a cook who can follow a recipe perfectly and a chef who can invent a brand new one from scratch. And that leap from how to why leads to this other critical distinction. A journeyman, they're incredibly proficient. They can execute the skill perfectly, following all the existing rules. But a master changes the rules. They evolve the craft itself. They become the source of the new standards that everyone else is going to follow. And often, these massive leaps forward come in a flash of insight. You know, that aha or eureka moment? It feels like it comes out of absolutely nowhere. But what's really happening is your brain, after all that deliberate practice, is finally connecting all the dots.
It's a huge sign that you're starting to see the whole board, not just the individual pieces. So after all of this, all the practice, the grit, the mental shifts, what does it all add up to? What does mastery actually look and feel like when you see it in action? What's the ultimate expression of all that effort?
Well, it's a progression, right? It doesn't happen overnight. You start with competence. You can do it on your own. Then you develop expertise. You're highly proficient and can adapt to anything. But the final stage, that's virtuosity. That's when you are so good, you make something incredibly difficult look completely, utterly effortless. The effort itself becomes invisible.
And a huge part of that is fluency. It's when you can execute these incredibly complex tasks without even consciously thinking about them. Your body just knows what to do. It's that feeling of being completely in the zone, where everything just flows.
And when you build on that fluency, you get to virtuosity. This is where the performance goes beyond just being technically perfect. It becomes a form of expression. It becomes beautiful. It's something that just inspires awe in people who watch it.
And the absolute peak, the ultimate goal here, is excellence. What this means is you're delivering that virtuoso performance not just on a good day, not just once in a while, but reliably, time after time. That's the real proof that you've achieved true mastery.
But wait, there's actually one final layer on top of all of this, and that's wisdom. This is where skill gets wrapped in deep experience. It's about knowing not only how to do something perfectly, but knowing when to do it, why you're doing it, and sometimes, even more importantly, knowing when it's better to do nothing at all.
So you've done it. You've reached the summit. But the journey is not over, not even close. Because staying a master, staying at the very top, requires a relentless commitment to evolution. True masters, you see, they never, ever stop learning.
So how do they do that? Well, one of the most powerful tools is something called zero-based thinking. Think of it like hitting a cognitive reset button. It means you regularly go back to square one, question every single assumption you have, and ruthlessly strip away any bad habits or inefficiencies you've picked up. This is how the best of the best stay sharp and keep finding new breakthroughs.
So look, this whole blueprint we've just walked through, it isn't just some interesting theory. It's a map. It's a guide that shows the path from raw potential all the way to wisdom and excellence. And that brings us to the final and maybe most important question. It's not about them. It's about you. Looking at this map, where do you see yourself right now? And what's your next step?